Now, if you want to do a little bit of journaling with a nice fine tip, we have the Archival ball marker. This is more like a ballpoint pen. So it has a ball in it, and you would not want to write on the back of your photographs with this one. With this one, you can write nice thin words so that you can add a lot of journaling to your page. So when I have a big story to tell, this is the marker I go for, is the Archival ball. You can also use the Millennium Marker the same way. The Millennium comes in different tip sizes, anywhere from an 001 tip up to an 08 tip. And depending on what you want to write or how you want to write, you can get a very, very fine line. This is an 05, so it's going to be very thin when we write, so we get a little bit different look with that one. We also have some markers that are fun to use on our darker papers. We have a metallic marker and we have a chalk marker. The chalk marker is fun because when you write with it, it comes out clear, and then as it dries, you'll see your word come out. It's like a disappearing ink for kids. It's really cool. Actually, it's the opposite, isn't it? It's invisible and then becomes appearing. So you can see that appearing right in front of us. You can also use the metallic marker. This gives a nice metallic-y look to our page. So let's say you're addressing your envelopes for an anniversary or your wedding invitation. You might want to use this marker because it's a beautiful marker that puts out a nice metallic touch to your pages. Very different look. Now let me show you some different inks that you can use. When you're organizing your photographs, you want to make sure that you're indicating who's in the pictures, what's happening in the picture, when it happened, and you want to write on the back side of the photograph. It's important to use the right kind of marker for this, because if you use the improper kind of marker like a ballpoint pen, you can break the emulsion on the photograph and the ink will come right through to the front of the photograph. This is the photo signature pen, and it will write on the back side, and you can just put who it is and the date, and that will dry right away and it won't smudge or leave any marks when you go to write on the back. The most common one for journaling is the writer marker. It comes with two tips on it. It's got the fine tip and the bullet tip. Both tips share one barrel, so there's one level of ink in here. You want to store this horizontally. If you store it vertically, all the ink will gravitate to one end and you might think that the other end is dried out. If you put it back horizontal again, then the ink will level and both tips will be full of ink. When you're working with these markers, the fine tip gives you a nice fine ink. So if you're going to write a little story or something important on your page, you want to use that nice fine line. But in the case that you want to fill something up with a lot of writing, you might want to use the bullet side. This one will give you a thicker line of ink, and it will also give you a different look when you write with the marker. So depending on what you want to do, you're going to use either the fine side or the bullet side of the marker. When you're using EK Success markers, you can tell which side is a fine tip and which side is a bullet tip by the barrel. This is the calligraphy marker, and the fine tip on the barrel always has the little grooves, whether it's a writer marker or a calligraphy marker. The little lines are right there. With these markers, we have the fine tip and the bullet tip, just like we did with the writer. And the difference between these tips is pretty profound. Let me show you the difference. This is our fine tip, and when we work with this one, we get a very fine line. With the bullet, we're getting a much wider, more prominent line. So depending, again, on how you want to mark your page, you might use the thicker side or the thinner side. Having the right tools for the job makes every project easier. If you have the EK Success rub-on tool, you will throw away all those popsicle sticks you got with your rub-ons. This makes putting a rub-on down much easier. It has two tips to it. It has the paddle end and the chisel end. All you have to do with the chisel end is rub on your rub-on. You want to use the chisel tip if you're doing some intricate type work like this one right here. This is a small letter, so I want to definitely make sure that I get it all the way down and I don't accidentally rub any of the other letters down as well. I like to lift up my rub-on and make sure I got it all the way down. If I'm missing any little pieces, I can go back and get them down correctly and then lift it back up again. Then if I want, I can even go back over and rub it down with the paddle end so that I have that precisely on my page. There are lots of things you can do with this particular tool and all the rub-ons EK has. Let me show you a few ideas. Over here, we've used the diary rub-ons to put a whole journaling block on. In this example, you would want to use the paddle end because you're putting down quite a bit of rub-on. You can also create a nice little title on the side. On the other side of me, I have an example where we've used our 12 by 12 rub-ons. This is a nice big rub-on, and we've used part of it to add some texture to the background of the layout. Here's another example of where we've done a title and some journaling. So depending on what type of rub-on you have and how intricate you're getting, the rub-on tool is perfect for your projects. Now let's say you make a mistake. That's when the adhesive tool comes in handy. This is an adhesive remover tool. It will remove your rub-ons as well as dry adhesive. It has a detailed tip so that you can get in and get rid of any little tiny portions. Let's say I put down a whole rub-on and I only want to get rid of a small portion. I can come in and just take out that small portion. You do need to keep on rubbing with it because it will come right off. It's just like getting a loose end, and then once you have that loose end, the whole letter will come right up. If you're not having luck with that tiny little end, that's when I flip over to the larger side, and then I can just rub the whole rub-on right off. So no matter what you're doing, you have a way to put rub-ons on your page and take the rub-ons off your page. I hope you enjoy.